What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Thursday, March 7th, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the busiest lady in the business, Andrea Renee.
What's good, Greg?
You tell me, was it Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel was phenomenal.
Oh, I can't wait to see it tonight.
It's so good. You're going to have a great time. I put up a little mini review on our Patreon page. It's my exclusive vlog for this week.
I'm sorry, what Patreon is that?
Oh, that's patreon.com/what'sgoodgames.
Oh, okay.
So if you are a patron and you haven't been by the page lately, go over there. You can check it out. No spoilers, of course. Just some of my thoughts on the movie, but it was really well done. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Goose is the star of the film.
The cat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very excited. Kevin, are you excited?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I mean, it's a very low point.
I was
excitement.
like you, Kevin.
Yeah.
I talk about this in my vlog. I was like, I didn't know who the heck Captain Marvel was.
Sure.
I was like, who is this person? I've seen all of the other MCU movies, and I'm still like super confused. Yeah. The only person I really recognized was Agent Fury. So I was like, I had no idea what was happening.
They did it right for
movie.
me on this one. Where remember Ant-Man and the Wasp when that came around? I was like, I like Ant-Man. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I was still hungover from Infinity War, where I was like, I wanted more of that. The fact that this is a prequel, the fact that this is obviously going to lead into what's happening with Endgame, and Endgame's just like a month away pretty much, like, I'm all in. I can't wait to see it. I'm just excited to be back, Kevin.
It's good.
We're back, baby!
Are you going to stick around tomorrow after Games Daily?
That's a very random question.
Oh, no, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I'm staying home to get ready for Cooking with Greggy.
Really?
Yeah. Prep stuff.
It'd be cool to have you on screen.
He's got a mise en place, Kevin. Come on.
You gotta book me.
Maybe we'll call you.
You know what I mean? You gotta book. You can call me while I chop stuff and get ready for Cooking with Greggy film.
Maybe.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindafunnygames. You can be a bronze member and submit your questions, comments, concerns, bad PSN names, and everything else under the video game sun. Then watch us record it live, twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. If you're watching live, you have a special job. Go to kindafunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and roosterteeth.com, as well as everybody listening on podcast services around the globe. Housekeeping for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Well, first off, I forgot. I'm still trying to figure out the best way, Andrea.
Yes, Craig.
Fran came in here, right? Infected Kinda Funny with his franness. And everybody liked when he hosted Games Daily because he did the rundown of what news stories are going to be out
He was doing almost like a cold open, but not really.
Yeah, but I have my rigmarole, so I can't figure out where I want to insert that into the rigmarole, and so then I've just been forgetting and moving it around. Today we're going to talk about how EA's done with E3, kinda. Nintendo doesn't want your money, kinda, and you can play your PlayStation on your iOS devices, kinda.
Listen, you don't have to do this, Greg.
People liked it a lot, and I like it too. I like giving what they want, but I just got to figure out the right way to put it.
People.
No, people. The show gets beamed out to people.
I think it's a great idea. Listen, I come from a long history of doing those kinds of teases in my news stories as well. I mean, I did news videos for a long time, Greg.
A long time. Mahalo Games, I'll never forget.
Oh my gosh.
Housekeeping for you, don't forget, the Kinda Funny World Tour is rolling into Kansas City, Missouri, March 30th. We will be there at the Flying Saucer to party with you. There's no need to have a badge for anything. You can just show up, bring money for booze and food. If you want to go the extra mile, though, we are at Planet Comic-Con throughout the day. You can pick up those tickets. Of course, all this is on kindafunny.com/events. You go there, you can see that I'm interviewing Mick Foley. I'm doing the Superman panel with Tom Welling, Dean Cain, and Michael Rosenbaum. Nick Scarpino is doing a panel with Henry Winkler, the Fonz. And then it just announced, Tim is doing one with the Power Rangers. Tim is doing a Power Rangers panel at Kansas City. So go ahead, kindafunny.com/events. You can find out about that. And then don't forget the first weekend in April, which is right after March 30th. We're going to New York City and doing a meet and greet there. All of this is up in part of the Kinda Funny World Tour. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Mohammed, Tom Bach, and Blackjack. And today we're brought to you by Brooklyn and Headspace, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be a jam-packed Roper Report. Time for some news. Kevin, how's your energy level? That wasn't your best. You know what I mean?
Still, can I make a point?
He's still going. Yeah.
Every time I listen to the show and Barrett does it, he doesn't do it right, Greg. We need Kevin to give Barrett some lessons.
Be supportive, Andrea. He's trying his best. When I started doing it, all these nerds out there were talking shit for years. Now they love it.
Kevin, I'm trying to give you a compliment.
6 items on the Roper
we gotta
Report.
be nicer to Barrett. He's like like he's on his last
Do you think
legs.
I'm mean to Barrett, Kevin?
No, it's not that. It's just, you know how it's a death by 1,000 cuts. When Nick Scarpino is literally shitting on you every day. So, yeah, okay.
That's a fair point. He does
Number
have to.
one, there's going to be no EA press conference at E3/EA Play. So I understand at first glance, they're going to be like, well, they've been doing EA Play. They haven't been at E3 for a long time. Now at EA Play, no press conference. Let's hear from EA themselves.
Oh, shit.
2019 will mark our 4th year of EA Play. What we envisioned as a celebration of play has become an incredible moment that we love to share with our community each year. We are so grateful for all our fans who have joined us, and we look forward to making this year an even better experience. This year, you'll see less talk and more play, with an event entirely focused on the heartbeat of EA Play, our player communities and the games they love. This includes first hands-on with some of our biggest games, exclusive content from some of the most popular creators in the world, and free for all to attend. It starts this year on Friday night, June 7th, 2019, with an all-new EA Play kickoff event. Here's where it's important. We're skipping the press conference this year and are replacing it with multiple live streams that will air during the first 2 days of the event, bringing you more of what you've told us you want. More gameplay and insights from the team making the games. Weekends are meant for play, and this year we've moved EA Play Fan Fest to Saturday, June 8th and Sunday, June 9th, where players will get hands-on with our games. We'll also have content creators streaming live from our Creators Cave in the Hollywood Palladium, providing gameplay content to our players viewing online. EA.com will be, and then it's all promotional stuff like that. But that's enough talk for now. We've got plenty more to show in the months ahead. Tickets will be available next month, so stay tuned over the coming weeks and months to learn more about EA Play 2019, including the games, ticket availability, program schedule, and more. Andrea?
Yes, Greg.
Congratulations. You hosted last year's press conference, and they said there's no way we can top it. We're not doing it.
Well, thank you, Greg. I'll take it.
What do you think of this one?
I think that this is absolutely the right move. Obviously, it's no surprise that I worked with EA last year at E3, and I spoke to them a lot about kind of lessons learned post-show, and one of the things that I told them was, I think it would be really beneficial for you guys to do more breakout sessions and to kind of target the audiences that really love specific types of games, because everyone likes to poo-poo EA Sports during the press conference. But it's their biggest sector of the games that they publish, and they have the largest fan base. And so that's the thing that's just one thing that, was, I think, something they wanted to address for EA Play 2019 is to say, like, how do we service these different communities? Because somebody who's playing The Sims maybe doesn't want to watch a press release about the expansion coming for Battlefield 5, right? So I think that this is the right call. I'm excited to see more about what they have in store. The Creator Cave has always been a really popular thing for fans of those specific streamers and YouTubers, and gives them the opportunity to make content on site, which is becoming a growing thing in popularity with other publishers as well, for content creators to be able to like churn right away instead of having to do the recording or the capture and then get back to their house or their computer and then do the editing. So I think this is the right move and a good call. Now, starting Friday means E3 now starts even just one day earlier.
But, it's a kickoff Friday event. You watch the live stream from your hotel, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, unless they lead with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Dragon Age 4, and then you're going to show up.
But I mean, well, that's the interesting thing of what this actually means, what these things would actually be, right? They're talking about the fact we're skipping the press conference, replacing it with multiple live streams. So, it kicks off on Friday night, sure, but then they're talking about the EA Play Fan Fest being Saturday and Sunday being the real days. So if they're doing streams on Friday night, are they doing them from there? Are they inviting press and media? Is it just them doing pre-canned presentations of it? I think there's a bunch of different ways to slice this, all of which I think better serve the community in the way you just expressed than what traditionally has been. And that's the thing is, I know I've already seen people obviously being like, oh man, smart move, EA's press conference always sucked. And then I've also seen the ones of, oh man, I'm going to miss the hype of having another press conference, right? It always was exciting to see these hour-and-a-half blocks of video games and who's going to do what and how's it going to go. To see another one fall out of it similar to PlayStation, right? I think it's the right move for EA in the way that I don't think when we talk about who's won E3 and what was the best press conference, right? EA is never in those conversations. Usually they are the lowest because they have to be the most broad. And you raise such a great point that if they're able to say, hey, guess what, everybody? Here is our E3 lineup. And rather than it be a press conference, we all sit down and wait for what we want. It is like, cool, here's the Star Wars section at whatever time. Here's the next thing from Respawn announced game at this time. Here is FIFA. Here is Madden. You can suddenly be like, oh, cool, I'm only going to tune in for what I want, and I won't feel like, man, I hate having to watch this giant. Was it last year or 2 years ago where they ended with the maybe it was last year Battlefront, no, 2 years ago Battlefront. They ended with a giant multiplayer
that was in
Battlefront
2017,
thing.
yeah,
and it was like
the 64-player live
cool,
20-minute
like,
battle.
There
yeah,
was like
bad.
this giant argument, not an argument, but push and pull of, I just wanted to see the cool trailer and hear about the game. You're making me watch the game, and I don't want blah blah blah. Like it's impossible to serve so many audiences that a corporation as big as EA needs to serve when they have so many different kinds of games. This is a smart move.
Absolutely. And right now, particularly in the wake of everything that's happening with Anthem, despite Apex Legends' success, you know, EA just can't seem to do anything right in the eyes of gamers. And that's super frustrating. And I kind of go on a rant about it in this week's What's Good Games.
You rant?
Oh, yeah. No, I don't like to do that at all, Craig. So I said last year, very specifically, when we were doing rehearsals, I said, listen, I can stand on stage and pass out $100 bills to literally everybody in the audience. Yeah. And somebody would still find a reason to be mad at me for it because people want to hate on EA. Sure. And that's a really unfortunate position because I think that there's a lot of really talented, great, wonderful people who work at EA globally, and the corporate marketing decisions should not have to blanket the entire company. And I hope that we can, you know, get beyond this weird, angry lynch mob phase that we're in and remember that they do make some really fantastic games. Sure.
Question for you in a similar vein of this. What do you think this means for Bethesda? This has always been my question about Bethesda, right? In terms of when Fallout 76 was happening and everything was going wrong and canvas bags and bad glitches and this, that, and the other. Do you think they still do a traditional press conference this year?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And from everything I've heard, they're going to be in their normal time slot and they have a lot to show. Don't forget, we still haven't seen that standalone expansion from Wolfenstein, right? With the daughters. Haven't seen that yet. Yeah. So imagine that we're going to see that again at E3 and actually see like a lot of gameplay because we haven't gotten a trailer or release date or anything. Sure. Probably going to see something more from Elder Scrolls. We're going to see Doom Eternal. Don't have a release date for that yet either.
You imagine you get Rage 2 DLC, right? Like their first wisp of that.
Probably not because the release date's mid-May. But I mean, it's possible.
I mean, just a hint at it. I mean, think about with what you're talking about with Wolfenstein, right? Like how long that's cooked. It doesn't need to be immediate. It's just like, hey, you've all been enjoying Rage 2. Here's how many copies it's sold or some statistic of hours or things killed. True. New Rage trailer out today, by the way, of being the wasteland superhero blowing shit up. Yeah. I think you could do something and piggyback off that to be like, there's more content coming and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they could. But I think they'll probably want to pivot it more of like a catch up with what's happening, where the improvements for Fallout 76. And then hopefully, what we're all really crossing our fingers for is a nice look at Starfield. But
yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath.
I might.
Don't know, Andrea. You'll never make it, even if you're. E3's so far away. Yeah, excited to see E3 continue to grow and evolve on this. And I don't even mean grow because obviously they're leaving. EA's not at E3, but you know what I mean.
And they haven't been for a couple of years.
Sure, but
now,
I mean, how does all this change? And you know what I mean? Like, it's so cool right now. Of like there are no rules. What the hell's going to happen?
You know what, Greg? I'm grateful for.
What's that?
Monday's going to be not such a terrible day.
Sure.
Because there's no EA Play on Monday this year.
Oh, okay.
There's no PlayStation conference on Monday.
There's probably going to be a Kind of Funny Game Showcase, though. Kind of Funny Game Showcase. Tell your developer friends to hit me up.
Are you going to slide into that spot?
We think about it. Like I was more of like looking around, like waiting for somebody else to take the spot, like a big company. And if nobody does, fuck it. Yeah, we'll take the PlayStation slot. What do we care? Here's a bunch of indie games. Have fun. Number 2 on the Roper Report. Nintendo doesn't want your money, kinda. This is from Rebecca Valentine over at GamesIndustry.biz, who will be coming by to do Kind of Funny Games Daily with me during the week of GDC, which is why I feel all right pretty much reading her entire article, but encouraging you to go to GamesIndustry.biz and give it a click. Concerned with its self-image, Nintendo has reportedly asked some of its mobile game development partners to adjust the microtransactions in their titles so that users won't overspend. The Wall Street Journal reports that sources at Cyber Agent, which owns Dragalia Lost developer Psy Games, have asked the studio to adjust its microtransaction-driven character lottery so players won't pour as much money into trying to win rare characters. I did that thing where I drank a lot of coffee, which is great for conversations, but not for reading, and I screwed up. Quote, Nintendo is not interested in making a large amount of revenue from a single smartphone game, one Cyber Agent official reportedly said. Quote, if we managed the game alone, we would have made a lot more money. The sources say that Nintendo is apparently worried it will be seen as greedy if players are spending too much. All of Nintendo's mobile games have been free to play or start with microtransactions optional. So far, Nintendo hasn't managed to produce a true mobile hit. Its first attempt, Miitomo, was shut down after only 2 years. Nintendo president Kimishima said that Super Mario Run, a game that was free to start with a paywall for later levels, did not meet our expectations. Fire Emblem Heroes seems to be doing better. Using a more traditional microtransaction model where players can pay to acquire new hero characters, the game has brought in around $400 million in worldwide revenue since launch, as Sensor Tower reported back in August. At the same time, it had far outstripped Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which only made $42 million from its launch in November 2017 to August 2018, and has been criticized over time for its excessive reliance on microtransactions for players to make progress. Dragalia Lost, Nintendo's most recent mobile endeavor, also seems to be struggling. Cyber Agent lowered its projections for its 2019 fiscal year in its Q1 financial report for the first time in 17 years, going from 30 billion yen to 20 billion yen. As President Fujita acknowledged in his statement about the lowered forecast, this was partially due to Dragalia Lost not maintaining momentum despite interest at launch. Nintendo is currently working on 2 mobile games for 2019, Mario Kart Tour and Dr. Mario World. Andrea, what do you think?
None of this is surprising.
Yeah.
Nintendo hasn't technically needed anybody's money for a while. I think Steimer said that she likened them to a dragon sitting on its pile of gold.
Sure.
Because Nintendo has a lot of cash in the bank, which a lot of other major publishers and platform holders technically don't have. All of their equity is really tied up in their stock options. But Nintendo has like a bunch of money just kind of laying around in a vault somewhere. And so all of the decisions they make, it seems, are not primarily driven by profits, as they're saying here, right, in this quote.
Sure.
But obviously profits are going to be part of business because that's the reason you do business, is to make money.
Of course.
I think that they're testing the waters here with all the mobile content. They haven't quite found a formula that works. We've all been clamoring for Nintendo to really come to mobile in a meaningful way for a long time now, but they haven't quite gotten it yet.
Right.
And I'm hoping that they'll find a formula that works. And listen, doing free-to-play models with microtransactions is not an exact science. You know, you really kind of got to test the waters to see what your community wants and what people are willing to pay for and what they're not willing to pay for.
Yeah.
And so I hope that they can maybe reach out to some other, you know, major publishers or developers in the space and find a way to bring these amazing fan favorite IPs to the mobile space, because I would love to play more, you know, Nintendo games on my phone.
Sure. What I love about it is what you're hitting on is the fact that, yeah, they're telling their partners not to, you know, gouge for money. This isn't what it's about. And what they are seemingly trying to do is find a new way, right? Yeah, there's this easy path over here that so many people have done. And I'm not even like being aggressive towards microtransactions or free-to-play games or anything like that. There's clearly a way that works, but there's also a backlash to it where it is like, man, this seems like you're just, you know, money grubbing. We don't want to be a part of that. And so they're over here trying all these different options that are not meeting expectations, like they're talking about with Super Mario Run, but are still trying to find that and are committed to finding a way to seemingly be fair to their core fan base and not have it be that, hey, here is a Mario game, we are cashing in on it, and we're going to just take your money and run and not care if it's good or if it's the Nintendo quality or any of that thing.
It's a little ironic, the concept of we're not going to cash in on a Mario game, when how many times have we all paid for like the Super Mario Brothers early platform games multiple times across literally every piece of Nintendo hardware that's ever been released. Of
course.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, then we bought it again when we got the SNES Classic or the Nintendo Classic. I was like, how many times have I bought Super Mario Brothers 3 in my lifetime?
But like, this is the thing, right? And again, you're touching on it. And I think, you know, especially going from the EA story to this story, right? And talking about the hate that is out there for EA, right? That puts any game or developer that has an EA sticker on it behind the 8 ball already. They have to really work uphill, and that's why I think Apex Legends has found so much success, right? To the point that yesterday I was like, wait, is that? I had to double check. It sounded so foreign that EA had something to do with it because I was just totally on another track, right?
Well, they bought Respawn.
Oh, I know. I'm aware of the facts, but I'm just saying in the middle of whatever argument we were having, for that to come up, I was like, wait, what? It's the idea that when you do the right thing, right, and I'm using air quotes, but when you do pro gamer, pro consumer moves, when you are Nintendo on that level, right, you get away with more. And granted, there's years and years and years and years and years of nostalgia for Nintendo, of growing up and sitting there, you know, the TV lighting your face when you're sitting there in your shorts with your friends playing whatever on the NES. But it is this idea that you see Nintendo trying, right? And trying to be good and trying to do the right things. And so then when you see something like EA, right, with microtransactions and fucking it up with Star Wars or whatever, and having to work their way out of it, and then still doing an old press conference. And like, again, you're seeing movement now with them doing EA or E3 a different way, or EA Play a different way. Like, I think that's the power of having a longer track record of trying to be good to the consumer, right? Of trying not to. And that is the thing when you talk about, yeah, man, as soon as I will buy Super Mario World on anything you put Super Mario World on. And I don't feel like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm paying for this game again, right? Like, most of the time everybody's excited to pay for that game again and excited to go do that because it feels like it's been done the right way. And sure, there's a million ways I'd do it differently if I was in there, but they don't need my help, apparently, as they continue to just rock on and be awesome. Blackjack writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames with this question, just like you can, and says, when Nintendo announced its partnership with DNA back in March 2015, the Switch was still being referred to as the NX, and nobody knew exactly what it would be. The Wii U was a titanic failure, and Nintendo was trying to find a way to stay relevant. Now the Switch is a runaway success, and Nintendo's mobile game initiative hasn't produced financial success. Does the mobile games market even matter to Nintendo anymore? Will Nintendo continue to explore mobile development, or has the Switch made that unnecessary moving forward? Is it too soon to declare the mobile game experience by Nintendo a failure? Love you guys, Blackjack.
Short answer, yes. Also, a little hyperbolic to say it was a titanic failure.
Well, you sucked and you know it.
I mean, it wasn't the best console ever created, but it wasn't the worst.
It sucked.
It wasn't the worst console, no. Come on, there was a Virtual Boy, but I'm saying it was a titanic failure. Huge failure. After the Wii, come on now, what are you talking about? But no, I agree with you that yes, it is. It is way too soon to declare this a failure. This is right now, the way they're talking about it is the way I think that applies that quote better than anything, right? What is it? I can't even fucking do the quote, but it's like, you know, the one, you're not failing, you just haven't succeeded yet. You know what I mean? Like, every failure isn't a failure. It's just you trying to succeed until you actually succeed. And I feel like that's what they're coming at it with. That yes, we have the money, we have the investments. Like, why not try to make this work until we can make it work?
Well, and I think it's important to remember some of these numbers that you read in this story. Fire Emblem Heroes brought in around $400 million worldwide in revenue. That is a fantastic number. And something that they said was maybe, you know, middling success still brought in $42 million. There's no way that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp cost $42 million to make. So I think they're probably right side up on that as well. You know, so I think it's important to remember and to put it into perspective that even though it might not have met their expectations or their projections, it still was financially solvent. And because of that, Nintendo, of course, is going to keep moving into mobile as they should. This new report that came out from Newzoo this week said 2.4 billion people will game in 2019 thanks to mobile gaming, because mobile gaming is now the most popular place for people to play video games. And if you're a game maker and you're not thinking about mobile, you're really missing the boat, because that's the future of video games, is not only streaming, as we've been talking about with this new Xbox box, in a second, right? Yeah. But also mobile devices are going to continue to get more and more powerful and be able to do more intricate types of games in the future. Yeah.
You want to have, in the same way I compliment Xbox all the time, right, on building this foundation right now and streaming and having Xbox Game Pass and really preparing for what they think comes next, right? It's the same thing here, that yeah, Nintendo is going to keep chipping away at this and trying to figure out how to build a better mousetrap, because as we've seen with loot boxes, as we've seen with free-to-play games, like, that market is so new and still evolving so quickly and changing so quickly that you can't sit there and be like, that's the difference between, hey, I want to build something that is going to work out for everybody, and hey, I want to build a cash-in. They could, make a Mario game right now that is free to play with all these weird microtransactions and do this level, do that thing, and like make a lot of money, which they're telling their people not to make. Or they could sit there and try to figure out, how do we make Nintendo quality games on mobile devices and have our core audience that's been with us forever and will be with us forever if we don't fuck them over still happy. And that's what they're trying to do. I salute them for that. It's similar to PlayStation VR, I feel too, of like, hey, we're trying with this thing. Let's set our expectations correctly on what we're doing. Let's go. Number 3, speaking of PlayStation, Greg Way, PlayStation has released for PlayStation 4 firmware 6.50, which of course is a big deal because you can swap the X and O buttons now, which it may not sound like something if you ever imported a game, huge problem in terms of what it accepts and what denies. But more importantly, it allows for remote play of the PlayStation 4 via an iOS app. Here's the official description of that iOS app. Use PlayStation 4 Remote Play to access your PS4 via Wi-Fi wherever you go. Display the PlayStation 4 screen on your mobile device. Use the on-screen controller of your mobile device to control your PlayStation 4. Join voice chats using the mic on your mobile device. Enter text on your PlayStation 4 using the keyboard on your mobile device. You need the following items to use this app. Mobile devices with iOS 12.1 or later installed, iPhone 7, iPad 7, iPad 6th generation, and iPad Pro 2 iPad Pro 2nd generation or later are recommended. A PlayStation 4 system with the latest system software version, an account for the PlayStation Network, and high-speed internet access. Notes of use on this app. This app is not compatible with some games. You cannot use the DualShock 4 with this app, motherfucker. And you can't use it on a mobile network. You need to be on Wi-Fi. You can't have it on your data. Fuck!
What's the point of it then?
Fuck! It was so close. God damn it, Andrea! It was so close when it dropped. I saw it. I was like, can I get my my DualShock connected to it? I cannot. And I was like,
so how do you use it then?
Touchscreen only.
Boo.
Yeah, big boo on that one. It'll be helpful if you want to, if like for some reason you couldn't how you can go through obviously the PlayStation.com and trigger your downloads that way. For little management stuff like that, it might seem like useful. For simpler games, like even like a turn-based strategy, turn-based RPGs, you could use it probably pretty easily.
Yeah, the one key use I think I can pinpoint for this would be if let's say I'm here at the office,
sure,
and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would love to just boot up Assassin's Creed Odyssey and play a quick mission, but my save is at home. Log in, upload my save
to the
cloud.
That's a great one, yeah.
Download it here. I mean, that seems to me to be the only functional use for it.
Yeah, a lot of people obviously when this were tweeting at me about this, and then also being like, "This is what the Vita died for," and that's my biggest problem with it. Is like looking at this, it's like, oh well, what?
I can't even with that statement.
Hold on, no, stick with me. I'm not. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
This is what the Vita died for.
That was a joke. I think they're joking. That's not why they didn't like fucking end Vita production just so they could do this at all. No, but I'm saying like if remote play was this important, why wouldn't I just carry around my Vita still? Or why wouldn't I pick up a Vita? Because then I would have at least sticks. I wouldn't have both shoulder buttons. I'd have to use that stupid crappy touchpad. But
I remember doing remote play on my Vita for Destiny to go visit Xur.
There you go. See, and that's the easiest way around it, right? I was seeing it. Yeah, like I'm just, and that's what sucks about this is that again, it's almost there. And again, hopefully it's laying groundwork, but I don't know. Let's bring in a question from Tropical Trent. With PlayStation 4 announcing the streaming option for iOS devices, do you think they can give Microsoft xCloud a run for its money? Did they learn from the Play Anywhere promise of the Vita? Rest in peace. I want to bring in Dapper Stephen with a PH as well. He wrote in, just like Trent did, to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and says, remote play for the PS4 on iOS is here. However, this remote play is the exact one for my PlayStation Vita. May it rest in peace. It only works over Wi-Fi and not over your mobile network, and it only supports touch input from the iPhone. No DualShock 4 supported. Why do you think PlayStation put this out without a heads up? Do you feel like this is a half step of, hey, this Vita software will work on iOS, let's throw it up there, they should like that? Or do you think it's laying the groundwork for more Play Anywhere, next gen future, and all the other features that'll roll out later? Trojan horse option. I hope in my heart of hearts that it is a Trojan horse move. Of just like, let's get people understanding this and trying this, and maybe it doesn't work they will want to, but they'll understand that they can do this kind of thing with it. Maybe that leads them to, dust off your Vita and use it. Maybe it leads it to the fact that you can remote play on your PC, your laptop, right? And you can connect your DualShock there and have it there if you want it that way. My hope would be that the reason they're not making a bigger deal about this, right? It's up. There's no blog post about it. I caught it through Wario64 tweeting it and then everybody else tweeting at me about it. I downloaded it, tried to use it in the office. It's like, your Wi-Fi is not strong enough. I'm like, great, okay, awesome. This is, and now I was in the back room and we're doing a bunch of Wi-Fi stuff here, so who knows? The hope would be that, yes, this is them, as I've talked about yesterday with Gary, Microsoft being very boisterous about all the things they're doing and what they're trying to do with their next-gen streaming technology and xCloud and all this jazz. Hopefully this is PlayStation putting together the pieces to get there and hopefully turn that corner.
I think you're overthinking this. I think this is one team internally not talking to the comms team. And
you think so?
I honestly do. I really think that somebody just like pushed the update live, didn't bother thinking to talk to comms, the communications team. And so it just went live. People were like, hey, what's this? I really truly think it's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
I don't want to even try to extrapolate that this is some kind of subversive move in response to what Xbox has been announcing.
Subversive. I would just hope that it is them getting ducks in a row to an extent.
I think that they're probably heads down focused on PS5 right now. Yeah. I don't even think that they're paying attention to what their competition is doing at this point, because those conversations of like, how do we adapt and change to where the market is, probably happened a couple of years ago. And not to say that they're not always keeping an eye out, like head on a swivel kind of a thing, but I don't imagine a world in which they're going to make some kind of giant pivot in their hardware research and development right now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just, as usual, I think Xbox is being not transparent, but I think they're talking a lot and giving us, even through, they're giving us enough to kind of understand or at least hope with what they're going to do and at least be able to put together the pieces of what we think they're going to do. Whereas PlayStation, has been so quiet about PlayStation 5 and what it's going to look like and where we're going and what their vision is for the future. It's fascinating, but scary, Andrea. I just want to know. Number 4. An Anthem fix is coming for the PlayStation 4 crashes we talked about earlier. This is Michael McWhertor over at Polygon. BioWare says it has identified the issues in Anthem that were causing players' PlayStation 4 systems to crash and will issue a patch to fix that problem in an update expected on March 12th. In a stream on Twitch today, Anthem lead producer Ben Irving said that BioWare discovered a bunch of things that were causing crashes, and we've addressed them in our patch. Irving also said that based on BioWare and Sony's investigation into the crashes, they haven't found any consoles were actually bricked or rendered completely unusable by Anthem crashes. Quote, in all the instances we're aware of that we've investigated in partnership with First Party, they can be powered back up if you know how to just turn the power back on and cycle it properly, Irving said. Those findings were echoed by Chad Robertson, head of live services at BioWare, on Twitter. Quote, we've identified several causes for the temp powered down crash some PlayStation 4 users have experienced. Fixes for the top issues are in patch next week. If you encounter a game crash where your PlayStation 4 won't respond, you can manually power down and restart it, no risk of damage. After thorough review, we have not encountered an instance where Anthem has bricked a PlayStation 4 console. If you are experiencing anything different, please reach out to @EAHelp so we can track the incident and investigate, end quote. Irving said that BioWare will fix, quote, real soon, a bug related to damage scaling in Anthem, which has been leading some high-level weapons to be less effective than the game's basic starting weapon. You want to talk about a game that can't catch a break, right? I remember when Fallout 76 and all that shit has happened, I was like, man, they're in a bad way, right? And I think the base game of Anthem, far better than the base game of Fallout 76. But again, just a PR nightmare of falling out of the bad news tree and hitting every branch on the way down. It sucks that it's still a week out or whatever, March 12th, until we'll get a patch for this. Of course, my system crashed on Monday night. I haven't been home the last couple nights to actually play. That sucks. I don't want to play and be worried about it. And I know that, yeah, it's, if you know how to power it back up, no big deal. And but it's just like,
then don't. Just wait until the patch comes out.
I'm going to. I'm not. It sucks.
I'm actually very impressed that they pivoted this quickly after starting the investigation effectively on Monday of this week, right? Because all the reports started hitting Friday, and over the weekend is when, the subreddit started getting filled with people saying, hey, I've been experiencing this, them identifying the problem, trying to talk to the community and having people submit, tickets so they can say, hey, let's research this and investigate this. Because I guarantee that PlayStation did not know that this bug was in there when they certified the game, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes these things just manifest after launch in certain situations that you can't simulate in a pre-launch environment. So I'm, really glad that the fix is coming so quickly. And I think, once again, this is people, being outraged over something that was completely fixable. This is part of my rant on what's good, and I'm not going to go into it here because I just can't anymore, Greg. Just can't.
Okay. Well, I don't want to poke the bear or anything. I mean, I think...
No, because I'm at a point now on this show where I can't say anything about it.
Anthem? Or anything in general?
Anthem specifically.
It's hard for you to co-host a show and not...
I need to quit, Greg. Just kidding. JK.
That's what drove Jared away. He couldn't talk about Red Dead anymore.
Yeah, he was like, I'm done.
He's got to get out of this thing.
Takes his cowboy hat
off
and walks away.
Yeah. Again, I think it's that... This is what we talk about all the time when I talk about the Division, right? Of like, I can't fucking wait for the Division. I'm all in on the Division, yada, 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 right? Like, Division for me is, I think, how Anthem was for you. And I'm totally ready that the Division's going to have something fucking wrong with it at launch, probably,
I'm glad that you're going in with that expectation.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's the whole thing. And this is, an ongoing debate on the subreddit and comments and everything else, and everywhere in the internet, not even just with us, right? Of, is it okay to expect an online game as a service to come out and have problems? It's not, I don't think it's okay, that's a shitty place to be that we expect that, but that's also reality of, again, what we've talked about at length, right? Is I don't think you can do a beta unless you launch your game in beta. I don't think you can put out a beta and have it then extrapolate out for like, okay, this is how it was when 500,000 people used it. That doesn't tell you what it's going to be like when 3 million people are online doing the same things, right?
Exactly.
Like, as much as we give shit back in the day of the old PlayStation Tetris game and then Housemarques games crashing because I had a full friends list all the time, right? It's like, I get that I'm a unique use case there. I understand that shit happens and that has to happen. It's not okay. It's not like I'm like, well, blah, 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 blah. Like, but it is like the realities of making a game and putting it out into a live area and having to do a bunch of different things you'd never do when you're running it on a test kit trying to figure things out.
Totally. And I understand that that's the reality of it, but I think sometimes the gaming community loses focus and loses sight of the awe and wonder of the incredible technology that makes online games work.
Sure.
Right? If you think about how all of these different moving pieces need to align to allow you and me in two different locations to be able to talk to each other on the internet and sync up and drop into each other's games, and we get to see our own customizations and like all of the moving pieces that make an online game so magical and special. I think sometimes people forget that that's really fucking hard to do, right?
And that's what I'm interested about with the Anthem crash is, again, it affected me. It has stopped me from playing Anthem this week because I could have played last night, I guess. I when it broke and Jason tweeted about it on March 4th, right? So you're right. I think that's syncing. I just want to make sure my timeline's correct. Oh, so God, it's already Thursday, Monday of this week, right? Coming out of the weekend and stuff like that. And I was like, oh well, I'm sure it's not that big of a problem, that wide ranging, right?
I know, and I said this too earlier, and of course, people are like, "Oh, you're downplaying how bad the issue is." I go, "No, you're blowing over. I mean, you're blowing up how bad the issue is. It's not like people aren't getting bricked consoles all over the country." And thank you so much for clarifying the nomenclature, because it seemed like a lot of people on the subreddit were incredibly confused. Sure. And I think maybe
people.
Because
I mean, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
please,
I understand. I understand, and I never want you to come on any show, your show or our show, and feel like you can't talk about something.
Right.
But it is that thing. Obviously, I've seen it. I've been in the subreddit. Tim and I had the conversation on Tuesday about it. Right. Like, I get it. And it is us playing fast and loose. You're not working on a script. We're talking, we're having a conversation. You see how it evolves and goes from there. And it is a conversation that involves everybody watching and being a part of it. And so I hear you and I understand what you're talking about. And I think it's just been a sticky situation there is this gap, right? Where it's like, I think that as we initially read about the crashes, my knee-jerk reaction on anything, any video game, it eats my save, it does this thing, it blah, 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 is to go more towards, all right, I'm sure it's a select group. Because I feel like that's me having done this job for 12 years. Where, of course, the people who are into Game X, I'm not even talking about Anthem, Game X, Y, Z, whatever, they're not putting up every night. Had a great flawless session, didn't crash on me, right? When it is that people are on a subreddit totally and they are saying it like, hey, this is a problem, you never know, is that a problem so drastic that it's affecting everybody? And even when we talked about it on Monday, when Shire's article broke, he put it up. You had mentioned, yeah, I'd kind of seen this. And I was like, I think I saw a Reddit post about it, but we didn't realize, how many people it is. And we still don't know how many people it is. And yeah, it got me, right? But again, for me, it was like, funny, because I was shutting it down anyway. I was done with it. And so how many people does this specific thing affect? And blah, blah, blah. My thing about it is, I'm surprised and not shocked. What I'd love to know is what the issue really is, because I'm not shocked. That's way too much hyperbole. But I'm surprised that it's going to take this long. For me, I thought that when it got reported and like people were sending out their things, I got hit up obviously because I'm tweeting about it by support that was like, hey, can you explain the issue and run us through it all? And I was like, oh man, if they're this on it, that they're finding me and DMing me about it, like clearly they know it's an issue and they're working on it and it'll be the first thing they get out. And so to have it go to the 12th, for me, again, everybody calmed. And I'm talking to the people of, I don't know. Everybody, let's just chill out. We're talking about video games, right? The fact that it's happening on the 12th either means to me that, hey, this is a really complicated issue that took us forever to find and it's going to take a little bit to fix, or hey, it actually isn't that many people that it's affecting, so we're not prioritizing, stop everything, let's fix it.
Well, don't forget, if they're fixing it, they could also break a bunch of things. So I'm sure what they're trying to make sure that they don't do is push a fix that then breaks a bunch of other systems. Yeah. Because that's a very common problem in video game development. So I'm sure they're doing their internal tests to make sure that this fix that they're pushing is going to keep the code as it is intact, so that they're not, creating a whole new problem that they're going to have to fix the week after.
Sure. And that's a great thing too that I think, gets I take for granted too, even in this conversation that I'm taking for granted about how complicated all this is. I was talking to a developer friend the other day about a game and they were like, yeah, we did this, which then fucked all of this. And thank God we didn't push that live because that would have crippled this, that. And it was like, oh, fuck, yeah, you don't think about that little change. And that's why, yeah, it is complicated and it is a totally fucked up situation. And it is, I think it's taking too long, but maybe that's as long as it needs to take, and there's a million different moving parts to this thing, right?
It's true. Well, it's, it's March 7th today.
Yeah. So
the 12th is just 5 days away.
Sure. But you know what that means.
What?
I'll be an activated agent by then. I won't give a shit about Anthem.
March
I won't
12th?
give a shit about Tetris 99.
Best game of all time.
I will forsake all other games for the Division. Please work on launch. Please, right, Barrett? Yeah. You're in there with me. We're saving DC. Woo! We're saving DC. Yeah!
Bless him.
Video games are fun.
They really are.
Number 5. Nintendo's getting into VR with LABO. This is Hope Corrigan over at IGN. Nintendo has announced a new VR kit as part of its LABO cardboard accessory lineup. According to its official LABO website, the new offering will be available from April 12th. There will be a starter set alongside 2 expansion sets. You will also have the option to buy the full kit for $80, which will include materials to build all 6 of the VR Toy-Cons, my apologies, included with the other sets. The starter set will retail at $40 and will include the material to build the VR goggles, parentheses, which look like housing for the Switch, similar to Google Cardboard, as well as Blaster Toy-Con, parentheses, which appears to be a gun-shaped accessory. It also comes with a screen holder and safety cap, so the games can be played in non-VR mode. The expansions are set to go for $20. Each will be featuring this. You can read all about that stuff. Almost all the Toy-Cons look as though they're designed to hold the Switch console up to the player's face, but the VR mode can be turned off and games can be played in 2D. You running out to buy this, Andrea? You want to get some LABO?
I feel like I can't say anything about this without sounding cynical, and I'm not trying to. I can't stop laughing when I'm looking at
Somebody
these
with
photos,
the cardboard shoved in
Greg.
their face?
Like the photos are just so hilarious, and Brittany and I would try to explain them. So imagine if you couldn't actually see the photo of the girl holding the elephant thing to her face. Like, how would you visually describe that with words?
Can you bring this up, Kev? If you click through on,
it's hilarious. And the only one that we saw here that actually has some kind of a head strap to hold the device to your face is the robot one. And the other ones, you're literally holding the cardboard with your Switch up to your face.
If you're a visual watcher, not an audio listener, Kevin's bringing it up. And yeah, this kid with whatever the fuck that is.
The elephant. I just can't. It's so silly looking. And I know that this is obviously designed for kids. And it's meant to be something that's whimsical and fun and provides an interactive form of entertainment. And I think that's all great. I just can't help but giggle a little bit when I look at it going, oh, Nintendo.
Hey, man, exactly. It's for kids. It's not for us. I mean, it could be for you. I'm not trying to take away if you want to play LABO VR. But it's funny how I have not thought of LABO at all since launch of LABO. And I hope it's doing well for them and it's, kids are playing it and finding it. But yeah, I'm not. I use my PlayStation VR in such limited doses, that I'm not going to run out and buy LABO VR there. But if I had a kid and I wanted to entertain them and possibly ruin their eyes, I'd strap to their face.
It's interesting. Didn't Fils-Aimé, wasn't he We have no interest in...
They had said they were investigating a while back, but yeah, it's been a weird ride of what they've been saying and what they haven't been saying about VR.
This is like...
But that's why Reggie retired, I heard.
This is barely like a toe dipped in the VR
waters. We got
waters.
some LABO VR coming in, Reggie's like, over my dead body. Here's my resignation letter.
Google Cardboard. That's literally what it is.
True. Number 6. Diablo's back and other classics are coming. This is from Blizzard. Blizzard Entertainment and GOG.com have teamed up to re-release select classic Blizzard games, beginning with Diablo, Blizzard's legendary 1996 action role-playing game that introduced players to the harsh and deeply rewarding world of Sanctuary. The original Diablo is available now via digital distribution for the first time ever on GOG.com. Players looking for the authentic Diablo experience can play the game as it was in 1996 with period-appropriate 20 frames per second SVGA graphics and the ability to matchmake through the classic version of Blizzard's Battle.net online gaming service. Blizzard and GOG.com have collaborated on an updated version of the game, which includes out-of-the-box Windows 10 compatibility and a host of bug fixes. Players can choose either version of the game from the launcher. Quote, "We were bummed that these iconic games weren't available to our players, so we're happy to work with the crew at GOG.com to rectify that," said Rob Bridenbecker, Vice President and Executive Producer, Blizzard Entertainment. "This has been a long time coming, and we hope our players will be excited to jump back into these classic titles." In addition to bringing back the first Diablo, Blizzard is planning other GOG.com re-releases of Warcraft, Orcs and Humans, and Warcraft 2. More information on the return to Azeroth will be revealed soon. Go get them, PC dorks! Have fun! Just kidding, you're not really
Or just
dork.
play Diablo 3 Eternal Collection on Switch, it's good.
Or I play it on PlayStation, you know what I mean? Come on now, I got some trophies. It's not that bad of a plat, you know how it works. Andrea?
Yes, Greg.
I'm excited to see what the Orcs and Humans look like when they go from their 20 FPSs to the thing, and we got the driver and we got a .ex. But that's going to take a long time for me to unpack. Where could I go to find things that are out now that I can play right now?
Why, Greg, you can go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily show host each and every weekday.
Yeah! We have had a great discussion in a big Roper report, so before I give you the list, I'm going to give you the ads. Out today! The Wild Age on PC! Minda on PC!
I'm sorry, everybody.
Nobata Studio and developer, developer Grizz is getting an update. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. Grizz Undone, a free update to the gorgeous narrative platformer featuring unused concept art and music tracks. As a celebration of the game reaching 300,000 units sold, Grizz is currently 15% off on Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam, Humble, and GOG. The Grizz Undone update adds an elegant browser for fans to listen to a collection of music tracks by Berlinist that are not featured in the game's final release, as well as unused designs and concepts from creative director Conrad Rosette. Included in the collection is an alternate version of the game's main musical theme and early designs for Grizz's now iconic dress. There's a new Rage 2 trailer out. I thought you should know about that. Rush, the fan favorite 32-player mode, is now live in Battlefield 5. TikTok, A Tale for Two, is out on PC, Mac, and mobile devices. And guess what, everybody? It's Thursday. That means there's a ton of Switch games. So here they come. ACA Neo Geo, the Ultimate 11 SNK Football Championship. Braveland Trilogy. Ghoul Boy. Hard West. Mahjong Stories. Vampire Romance. Goddamn, I gotta pick that up. My Little Riding Champion. Space War Arena. V-Rally 4. Valley. The World Tree Mosh. And then we're done with that. Borderlands 2 VR has been patched to use the PlayStation Aim controller, which I'm pretty stoked about. So is Kevin.
Cool. I added a couple things down here.
Andrea, take it away.
Oh, the Indie Mega Booth has announced a new trailer showcasing the lineup for PAX East, featuring 78 games from 18 countries. And of course, they have the mini booth returning, and for the first time, they're going to be participating in the Penny Arcade, and those details about Penny Quest will be coming on March 22nd. I did add 2 things under new dates as well.
New dates? Aquamoto Racing Utopia on PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One is coming this spring. I think it's an update, actually. It's DLC. Diesel Brothers Truck Building Simulator is going to be purchasable on Steam on April 12th and available on PlayStation and Xbox One in late 2019. Grim Shade, inspired by RPGs of the 90s, has been announced, and it will be releasing on Windows PC via Steam on March 26, 2019, and launching on Switch later in the year. Mars Z Tactical Base Defense, formerly Mars Z. It's Mars, but with a Z instead of an S. Rising will be leading leaving early access with the game's full launch on April 4th. And then World of Warships Legends will soon be coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on April 16th. What else you got, Andrew?
Hot off the press, Judgment, Yakuza's detective-themed spin-off, is coming to PlayStation 4 on June 25th. That release date was just announced.
I thought we got it yesterday.
Was it yesterday?
I think so. I think it was You're Wrong for yesterday.
Oh, because I just saw Eurogamer's post about it.
You nailed it. Don't worry.
Okay. Lastly, 3D Realms and 1C Entertainment, in collaboration with developer Kill Pixel, will pay homage to the classic era of gaming with Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, a dark fantasy horror FPS powered by the original Quake engine. Get your first taste of Wrath in summer 2019 for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One versions will follow in early 2020.
Excellent. Now it's time for reader mail, but we've been sprinkling it in, so I'm trying to find a good one here just to crush with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Who can come out and just crush it and be done? Kill the show right there. You know what I mean? I need a tombstone pile driver of a question. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of clotheslines. It's not what I need.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, it's not they're bad questions. They're just not like here's a super kick or something.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's just use Anthony Poulon's one. We'll go from there, all right?
Okay, let me pull that one.
Patreon.com/kindoffunny. Anthony wrote in and says, the conversation yesterday about the all-digital future and Xbox Game Pass sounded great for consumers, but what about developers? After movies and music went mostly to the digital future, they became far more accessible, but the revenue pie became even more stretched, with the lion's share going to AAA companies and brands. There are already an overwhelming amount of games out there struggling to get attention and make a profit. In a hypothetical future where everyone gets their games from a version of an Xbox Game Pass, then how is it possible for smaller time developers to be sustainable in an industry that already has many issues with burnout and layoffs?
I think these are two different issues that you've mashed together.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't saying yesterday that everything was going to Xbox Game Pass. I was saying that that's a very interesting model on Netflix, yada yada. That's not the future where everything is on one subscription service.
No, I think smaller developers absolutely have the most to benefit from an all-digital future because it cuts out that incredible expense of distribution of physical media. Because that marketing, making the boxes, making the advertisements, printing and shipping the disc, that's all a cost on your bottom line. And so if you can take that away and just push a digital code, that's more profits for you on the back end. So I think that is definitely a boon for smaller developers for digital future. When it comes to being bundled in a subscription service, I think it could be beneficial for some games because it will give them more visibility. And if you can hook people through an original subscription offering, like let's say a game like Rocket League is included in Xbox Game Pass, and once you get it as part of your subscription and you get into the game and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all these amazing skins that I can buy for my cars. Then now they've introduced that second point of sale to say, hey, we might not have made money on the initial offering, but now we're going to make money on digital in-game items down the line.
We've talked about this, right? And had actual reports and conversations from Xbox people and then developer people talking about the fact that, you put a game on there, you put the Tomb Raider games on there, you hopefully drive excitement for the newest Tomb Raider, but you also sell the Tomb Raider DLC that was already there just sitting on the store. And I do think that as you move to an all digital future, and let's say that the streaming Xbox we talked about yesterday, Maverick, is real, it comes out, it starts getting people on, they're using Xbox Game Pass, and they see how easy it is and how that's working. I think you then have people start to understand what it is to then go into the Xbox Game Store and buy other things, right? They're already on the platform. We've seen so many developers talk about having their games on Game Pass, leading to more successful and more sales because people are talking about it and getting it out there and people are buying it. But I also think, to your question, Anthony, right, where if this happens, I agree with Andrea that it's removing the box thing. It's actually making more revenue for the developers, and it's also getting more consumers ready to buy digital games. I'm still always surprised when I meet people who don't buy things off the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store, right? They don't buy these indies that we talk about. And for me, I'm getting so often. I'm downloading 2 or 3 games a week from these indies. I think that once you break down that thing and suddenly people start going to the store and it is, oh man, here's a $5 game, a $10 game, whatever. I've heard them talk about this. It's on sale. I'll get in there and try this. You get people used to using that ecosystem. I remember when my mom started using, Netflix through her Wii or whatever, and it was like, oh, she's starting to understand how this works. And I think that then leads to not, I want to rent a movie. You start thinking, well, I don't need to go to the store. I can go to Amazon Prime, or I can go use this other service because I already understand how that works.
Or I think that goes a long way. You can just speak into your remote, which is what I do at home. It's pretty cool.
But the problem is, your remote doesn't even have a microphone on it. You just drink too much wine. I've seen you just talking in the remote. Nothing's happening.
You're probably right.
And then John rolls his eye and just buys whatever you want on the store. It's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Give me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Blake needs help on PC. His Uplay and Steam username is bear73_. Hey, Greg and Andrea. Y'all are doing a great job on today's show. Parentheses, how's that for some future proofing? I'm writing in today in anticipation for the Division 2, but I'm looking for help in the Division 1. I'm not ready to let go yet. Before we all head to DC and leave New York forever, there is one lingering threat many of us are ignoring: Division Shields. These 12 challenges unlock rewards in the Division 2, one being an American flag backpack dangler. I want that dangler. Yes, I am unfortunately on PC, mainly to play with my brother, who is in wanna get to 2 mode. Oh, okay, so I need your help, agents. Who's with me? If you want to play some Division 1, get some shields with bear73_, hit him, Blake, up on Uplay and Steam. Andrea.
Yes, Greg.
We ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're-wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and roosterteeth.com and listening on podcast services around the globe.
Yes, sir.
Nanobiologist points out that Wolfenstein Youngblood is not an expansion, but a full-blown sequel to Wolfenstein 2.
I said it was a standalone.
Okay, I missed that. I just didn't. That was news to me, so maybe I'm the one who fucked it up. I wasn't paying attention.
No, you didn't fuck it up. Okay. I think nanobiologists heard wrong, which happens sometimes.
Well, I think also people write in sometimes while we're still making the point. That happens.
Jump the gun.
Lord of Pone writes in and says, Emily is Away has been announced. There's a new, or Emily is Away with a heart has been announced. I saw, of course, our friend Kyle, who made Emily is Away and Emily is Away 2 teasing stuff. He's got a new game for Emily is Away, but it's got the heart emoji at the end, and it's all about Facebook. You can go look into that. I'll try to look into it for you as well. Who cares says PlayStation did announce the iOS remote play in a tweet. I said blog, or I meant to at least. Maybe I said tweet.
You said blog. That kid's wrong.
Okay. Chris says, according to the developers AMA, Gris is pronounced Grease. Well, they should have spelled it Grease, because then stupid people like me call it Gris. And stupid people like me, no, it's not pronounced Gris. But in the heat of the moment, when I'm just bringing up some news story and I say Grease, that's how it is, man. Sorry.
Wait, Grease? I've heard the people who work on that game call it Gris.
And then
not Grizz.
Then Blanky says
Gris.
Gris is actually pronounced Grease, not Grizz. And so it's just, you're all saying the same thing. But again, I just don't care. I'm sorry. We have to understand that I'm stupid, and I will continue to say things wrong, and we gotta let's just let it go. Gris is always gonna be Gris to me. I'm never gonna be able to say Grease when I see it. I'm gonna say Gris.
Push your will on them. I'm
not pushing my will. I'm just saying guess what? If you walk up to me at the Kansas City meet and greet, you're like, hey Greg, let's run a mile without stopping right now. I'm not gonna be able to do it.
I guess you could.
In the same way you walk up and you show me Gris written on a piece of paper, I'm gonna say Gris.
Andrea, don't you lie to him.
Don't lie to me.
A mile
it's okay.
Nothing.
And then
it's not a big deal.
Kebab
Greg
says, in case it needs pointing out, the 3 in the Emily is Away less than 3 emoji makes the 3 in Emily is Away 3. I did need that pointed out. Thank you very much. That makes it easier to say. Because again, it's always going to be Emily is Away heart emoji. But now I get it.
2?
Yeah, remember he spelled it T-O-O. Remember, you don't remember this one? That's the Let's Play that went on for like 90 hours and Tim fucked us at the last second, and I will never forgive him for it.
I thought that was the...
If you ever want to see some crazy ass drunk Let's Plays, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, Emily is Away 2.
Wait.
And watch Tim fuck me over.
Emily is Away 1 wasn't the one that lasted for 4 hours?
Oh, they both lasted forever,
okay.
But like it was the same thing where Emily is Away 1 was a short enough experience to play in one sitting. Emily Away is 2 probably shouldn't have been, but we just ran and got blackout drunk.
Major Nelson just tweeted a custom Captain Marvel Xbox One X.
Ooh.
It actually looks pretty sweet.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about. If you like that, be part of the show, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You, of course, can watch live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and roosterteeth.com. You can listen on podcast services around the globe. Gamescast this afternoon, recording live on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. We'll be talking about Days Gone. Very excited to finally be able to talk about that with you.
And if you guys are planning to watch live and you have not yet watched my gameplay preview where I talked to John Garvin, I highly recommend you go to youtube.com/what'sgoodgames to check it out. New gameplay for you to watch.
And then I think Tim's reviewing Devil May Cry 5 as well. So it's a
I've been playing that too.
And then Fran, He's going to be pretty. That's what he does.
No, we're going to be talking about Season of the Drifter, Greg.
Oh, well, okay.
Lame. So lame.
Kevin nailed you. It is lame. It's Division 2 for life. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.